The Shark Deck.
I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I thought I'd take a look at the AV Club's 30 greatest stand-up comedy specials of all time. If you are a relatively new listener, when I do these article episodes, I don't look at them in advance. I like to just react to them as I see them. And I've had this in my folder of things to get to, and it's been good for comedy news. There's been plenty of stuff, but I figured with the holiday weekend, let me work this one in. All right, it's the 30 greatest stand-up comedy specials of all time from the AV Club. They write from Richard Pryor and Robin Williams to Mitch Hedberg and Hannah Gadsby. We're putting a spotlight on some of the best stand-ups ever. It's a slideshow because it's 1994. I don't know, but okay, let's click. They have ranked these in chronological order, which is good because that way we don't have to argue about which is the best one. The first one up they have from 1975, An Evening with Robert Klein. If I've seen that, I saw it on HBO 8 billion years ago. I can't say I remember it. Next up from 1978, Steve Martin's A Wild and Crazy Guy. It's very easy to forget just how popular Steve Martin was and how revolutionary his comedy seemed at the time. You go back now, like I remember as a kid, we thought King Tut was the greatest, most hilarious thing we've ever seen. And, you go back now and it's born in Babylonia, moved to Arizona, King Tut. Hilarious. But back in the day, yeah, Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy. Love it. Good pick. Richard Pryor, live in concert 1979. In 1979, I'm 10 years old, so even though I'm somewhat expert in comedy, I do get confused as to which Pryor special is which. Next up, Eddie Murphy Delirious from 1983. Yes, if you're my age, you quoted this thing and probably at one point in your life could do almost the entire special off the top of your head. Have some things not aged so well? Yes. Are there some things that you wouldn't do today? Yes. Are there some words you wouldn't use today? Yes. Did we all love it back in 1983? Yes. Did we realize Eddie Murphy was just doing a cover act of Richard Pryor, including the red plastic jacket thing? No, we didn't because we were kids, but Eddie Murphy Delirious, we loved it. 1985's Stephen Wright special. You forget how different Stephen Wright was, a unique voice. You hadn't seen that type of presentation before, that slow deadpan delivery, and it just tickled your brain in a way that nobody had before. Another great pick here by the AV Club. Robin Williams, An Evening at the Met, 1986. Robin, another one of those comedians when he first came along, you saw that different level of energy and it was just like, wow. I'm not sure if you go back now and look at Robin's comedy, you're like, oh, that's so amazing. But at the time, yeah, absolutely. Another great pick. Paula Poundstone's Cats, Cops, and Stuff from 1990. I remember Paula kind of having a moment there for a while and then disappearing, but interesting. AV Club writes, Cats, Cops, and Stuff remains a seminal work from its era, and in the wider canon of stand-up as an art form, Poundstone's ability to command an audience through personal stories and witty sides is stellar, but it's her gift to pivot instantly to crowd work and back again that makes her a legend. Okay, I mean, I won't fight you on it, but I'm not like, yeah, the Paula Poundstone special. Next up, George Carlin, Jammin' in New York, 1992. Much like Pryor, it's hard for me to, off the top of my head, remember which Carlin special is which. Obviously, we're going to pick Carlin specials here. I won't be surprised if there's more than one on here. Let's see, on this one, Jammin' in New York, Carlin does an extended riff on the distrust of public drinking water. This one establishes perhaps the birth of the latter-day Carlin we come to know and love. Earlier specials were a bridge between the counterculture Carlin of the 60s and 70s and the hilarious doomslayers of the 90s and 2000s, but Jammin' in New York is the pure, brilliant birth of Carlin as comedy's resident leftist prophet, the guy who watched the heat death of the universe with a grin on his face. Next up, this one surprises me, 1995, Janeane Garofalo's HBO comedy Half Hour. Not sure I remember that one, and I always really liked Janeane and was thrilled when she was on Larry Sanders. The AV Club writes, Garofalo gave us her take on everything from TV commercials to bands that are too loud to wonderfully understated impressions, delivering the definitive Gen X stand-up in the process. The definitive Gen X stand-up set? I got to push back on that. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that. 1996, Chris Rock's Bring the Pain. Absolutely. Great special. The AV Club reminds us the special is best remembered now for a bit involving the N-word, which Chris Rock later retired. Another illustration of how things change and things that worked back in the day don't necessarily work so well now. But Chris Rock, Bring the Pain from 1996, a good pick. 1998, Jerry Seinfeld's I'm Telling You for the Last Time. I mostly know this one from playing all the individual clips on SiriusXM radio when I used to program that. I know this material pretty well. Jokes about the supermarket to Halloween candy. That was Jerry retiring a bunch of material in 1998. Peak Jerry. Yeah, great pick. Next up, Susie Eddie Izzard's Dressed to Kill from 1999. I know Izzard's not everybody's piece of cake. I like their material a lot. Oh, one of my all-time favorites from 1999. Is it really that old? No way. Comedy Central presents Mitch Hedberg is 1999? This is the one with an escalator can't break, it can only become stairs. I can't believe that's 1999. I thought that was a little later, but I guess not. Mitch passed away in 2005. Yeah, all right. Here's a pick that's out there a little bit. David Cross's The Pride is Back from 1999. I like Cross a lot. The AV Club writes, Patton Oswalt might have become the household name to emerge from the alt comedy scene of the 90s, but David Cross is still the era's unapologetic, inventive standard bearer. With The Pride is Back, David Cross brought all these skewed perspectives of the Mr. Show era to his one-man act, a reminder of Cross's knack for squeezing everything out of truly transgressive premises. 2000. The original kings of comedy. Sure, that's a huge one. Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Steve Harvey. Yep, the AV Club calls it a game changer. I agree. With a little help from director Spike Lee, it showed the massive impact of black comedy to the world on a grand, instantly funny scale. It's one of those moments that feels like it'll never be replicated again, which is a big part of what makes it special. Continuing, the AV Club's 30 Best Stand-Up Specials of All Time. Next up, the year 2000, and they have Margaret Cho's I'm the One That I Want. Not sure I agree here. They write, Margaret Cho is certainly not the first out gay woman to make an impact in the stand-up comedy world, but with I'm the One That I Want in 2000, she proved she might just be the most fearless. 2005, Sarah Silverman's Jesus is Magic. 2005 might have been around peak Sarah Silverman. She was the it girl there for a while. Is it one of the 30 best of all time? I'm not sure. Not sure about this next one either. Zach Galifianakis is Live at the Purple Onion from 2006. A comedian who could do Stephen Wright's deadpan and Robin Williams' explosive commitment with equal power, writes the AV Club, Live at the Purple Onion is a tremendous showcase of his ability to ride out even the most questionable bits and wring laughs out of unexpected places. All right, we're on a run here of me not agreeing. Wanda Sykes, I'ma Be Me from 2009. The AV Club writes, I'ma Be Me feels at once vulnerable and razor sharp, like she's been waiting her entire life to tell these jokes. Patrice O'Neill's Elephant in the Room. I've said this before. I never enjoyed a moment I ever spent with Patrice O'Neill. He had this way of just coming at everybody. I think he thought it was funny. He would just, I don't know, whatever you're doing right now, he'd walk up to you and go, you're really wearing that shirt? And it's just like, dude, screw you. I just don't want to be near you. So I am definitely biased against Patrice. Didn't enjoy my time with him. The AV Club writes, Elephant in the Room is truly something special, released just months before his death. It's a brilliant set full of moments when you can feel O'Neill pressing all of his audience's buttons. His bit on sexual harassment is a especially pointed example of this. I know all the comedians love him, especially the New York City, like smoke a cigarette in front of a brick wall comedians, but top 30? I don't know, AV Club. Mike Birbiglia as My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. Boy. What is this, like 6, 7 in a row? And I'll remind you, I was at SiriusXM running comedy. That was the 10 years where I was like really in deep with comedy. I'm not agreeing with any of these. Biggs is nice, but I don't know about this pick either. Maria Bamford, the special from 2014. Same thing. Love Maria. I've seen Maria live, but is that one of the top 30? I'm going to have to make my own list. And I'm not going to just do that off the top of my head because I'd really have to think about it. But the Hedberg's going to be up there on my list. Kinnison is going to be up there on my list. There's no Kinnison on this list because we're already up to 2014. That first Dice special, whatever you think of Dice, that was amazing. I would have a couple Carlins up there. I'd have to research. A couple Pryors up there. I'd have to research. I imagine we're going to get to some Chappelle's here. No love for the blue collar guys yet so far. All right, next up. Tig Notaro's Boyish Girl Interrupted from 2016. I like the pick a lot. That was like peak Tig. Liked what she was doing there. Yeah, that's a good pick. Patton Oswalt's Annihilation 2017. Much like I've said about Carlin or Pryor, I have to remember which Patton Oswalt special is this one. This is the one following the death of his first wife, Michelle McNamara. Oswalt went toe-to-toe and punch for punch with his grief. I think there's better Patton Oswalt specials than that one, but all right, I wouldn't fight you in the alleyway about picking that one, but I'd pick an earlier Patton Oswalt special. And if I'm going to pick a Patton, I'm going to put a Brian Posehn on my list as well. I'll have to make a list for you all. Hannah Gatsby's Nanette. I think Douglas is a better special. I get that everybody started praying at the Hannah Gatsby altar over Nanette. I think her next special, Douglas, is better. On my list, I would pick Douglas over Nanette, but okay, I get it. John Mulaney's Kid Gorgeous, good pick. By the way, no Gaffigan yet either, and we're already up to 2018. Kid Gorgeous establishes John Mulaney as one of today's top comedians. Sure. As I'm doing this, and this is why I don't read them in advance, things are popping into my mind. No Dennis Leary on this list. Interesting. No Bill Hicks on this list. Interesting. Next up, Bo Burnham's Inside. I get that people like it. I get that I'm old. I won't fight in the alley. Not my cup of tea. Wouldn't make my top 30, but I get it. Norm Macdonald's Nothing Special was really good. Very funny, recorded in the middle of the pandemic. Norm knows that he's going to die, so he puts this material down. Yeah, kind of a cool special. Gerard Carmichael's Rathaniel. Again, I know that all the critics think this was the greatest thing ever. I didn't like it. That's from 2022. Wow, and they have Mark Maron's From Bleak to Dark from this year. That's not even on my best of this year. Wow, what did they write here? I'm shocked by this. Mark Maron has endeared himself to audiences through a blend of honesty and world-weary wisdom, and it's a blend that allowed him to go to some dark places over the years, da-da-da-da-da. It's quite possible no other major stand-up alive could have pulled off a joke about considering a selfie with his partner's dead body, and that alone makes this a towering comedic achievement. Huh. All right, that's the AV Club's top 30 comedy specials of all time. I don't know. No Joan Rivers? I'll have to make my own list. That's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. See you tomorrow.